91,000 plus here today, all waiting. Spotters are in their place. Drivers are buckled in. Crews down on pit road, taking the covers off the cars and their equipment and checking everything out, getting ready to go.
Now the racetrack will be a little bit slippery this morning because of that rain this morning. It's washed a little bit of the rubber off, so it's what we call a green racetrack, which means it's just a fresh racetrack. So the first few laps are going to be, guys are going to have to be real careful because you start your tires down low pressures here anyway. The tires are great here. After about 20 laps, you start running your quickest laps here at Loudon on these tires. But they try to get the pressures down as much as possible for that buildup. And it's slippery here when you're on low pressures, and there's no rubber on the racetrack to help grip those tires at the start.
BP, we just had a look at Sterling Marlin's car. You're a former Winston Cup champion. You've been in one of these tight fights for the championship before. What are these guys thinking with so many so close together, 10 races to go in the season?
You know, Sterling and his guys, they're so laid back, it's unbelievable. It just doesn't seem like that the pressure is bothering them at all. I'm amazed by every week they have the same demeanor that they had the week before. But as this thing wears down, as we get down to 4 or 5 races to go, if we're in the same situation, Sterling has a 9-point lead, it'll be a different story, I would think.
One of the closest championship races in history, playing today on a track whose condition is unknown and weather conditions are iffy. Ooh, it's going to be fun. Let's go trackside for the command to start engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Now please direct your attention to pit road and our Grand Marshal, Bobby Allison.
For you great New England fans, gentlemen, start your engines.
Behind its scheduled time for starting engines, but they're cranked up here at New Hampshire International Speedway. NASCAR on NBC gets the green flag next. Back in New Hampshire International Speedway, cars are on the track, making their parade and pace laps before the start of today's New Hampshire 300.
65!
Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is proud to sponsor the Bud Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Ryan Newman set a new track record in picking up his 3rd Bud Pole of the season on Friday afternoon. Anheuser-Busch is awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. Here's the Walmart starting grid for today's New Hampshire 300. Alongside Ryan Newman on the front row, Johnny Benson, his best start since Las Vegas, March 2001.
In row 2 on the inside, Bobby Labonte, his best start in 2002. And Greg Biffle, his 3rd Winston Cup race, is on the outside.
Mike Skinner talked about the hard testing crash and the burns he suffered in Kansas earlier this week. He's in row 3 with Kurt Busch.
Mark Martin, contender for the points championship in the inside of row 4. Ricky Craven, local boy on the outside.
Jerry McNayfield and Tony Stewart. In the 5th row, Tony, 4 top 5s in his first 6 New Hampshire starts.
Andretti and Jerry Nadeau, couple of Petty Enterprises Dodges in row 6.
Yeah, they qualified back-to-back to back with Kyle Petty, who's inside of row number 7. Michael Waltrip alongside there. Final stories from pit road, Matt.
Alan, you can hear the confidence in Ward Burton's voice. You can see the confidence on his team's faces. They know that, yes, they're starting in the back in 27th. They won from 31st back in July, but they also feel like this car, which they raced at Richmond, is very good. They turned it around. In fact, that's why it still has the flames on it. The car wasn't supposed to have the flames, but he knows he's got a lot of track position to make up. He's trying to do something today that nobody's ever done here in New Hampshire. Sweep both races on the Magic Mile in the same season, Dave.
2000 Winston Cup champion Bobby Labonte only had 1 top 10 in his first 7 starts here. That was a 10th place in 1993, but since then, it's been good. He's had 6 top 10s, including 3 top 5s. Still looking for his first win. Bobby also has finished every single race here he started, so it could be a good day for him. Marty?
Dave, it could also be a good day for Greg Biffle. This is his 3rd Winston Cup race. March of 2001, Kevin Harvick started his 3rd Winston Cup race and won the fastest anyone ever has won a Winston Cup race. The car is very good, and if he stays patient, he may equal that record. Bill Weber.
Marty, Johnny Benson starts second, career start number 219. Last week before career start number 218, crew chief James Ince told me, this is a great car, we could win tonight. Well, at Richmond last Saturday night, they finished 35th after they wrecked. Here on Friday, he told me this is the sister car to that car. This car is even better. Maybe Johnny Benson's first Winston Cup win comes today in New Hampshire. Alan.
Benson alongside Ryan Newman on the front row as they bring the field through turn 4, that spot that was so controversial in the July race here. We'll see how it fares over 300 laps today. 317.4 miles the race distance, 300 circuits around, 91,000 plus come to their feet. And an hour late, we are glad to see the green flag in New Hampshire 300. Skinner poking the nose under 3 wide.
And Skinner lost the momentum when he had to jump off the throttle to avoid making contact with those guys. Now he's driving in, and Biffle goes in the corner too hard, slips up the racetrack. They're 3 wide on 4. 2 wide.
2.5 wide.
2.5.
Ryan Newman leads, Johnny Benson second, Bobby Labonte third, Mike Skinner fourth, and here's the race for fifth. It's Kurt Busch in the 97 and Biffle in the 55.
They're all wanting that position. Get in there. Oh, Kurt Busch slides up the hill. Now, who's going to have the run off 4?
Well, that outside groove looks pretty good right now. I mean, as far as what we've seen in the past here, looks like there's a little bit of grip out there.
Here's Ricky Craven in the 32 coming into the picture along with Tony Stewart.
And Kurt Busch finally just let Greg Biffle get to the inside because the outside groove was working, but these cars are about a half second slower than the cars in front of him. He said, look, we can run here forever. I need to let this guy go so he can get in line and try to run down these leaders.
See those cars moving around like that? I mean, they're still, these tires are still coming up to temperature. They're still coming up to pressures. As we watch up the top of Mark Martin's car here, watch the back to Tony. They are tiptoeing.
Mark Martin running in 9th place, second in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship coming into the race, only 9 points behind leader Sterling Marlin. And John Andretti and Richard Petty's 43, sneaking up on Mark's back bumper.
Aggressive tiptoeing.
Yes. And Kurt Busch once again gets a run on Biffle down in 1 and 2. Now this time Greg will just back off and let Kurt Busch go.
That's 5th place there, changing hands.
And unfortunately, there's another one back there, Greg, and that would be Ricky Craven in the Tide Ride.
Aerial views today, courtesy of the United States Army and Army of One.
Don't get too high up there, Greg.
Outside that white line, there's not a lot of traction. That second white line. Alan and I walked down to that corner this morning, and there seems to be a lot of grip in that new asphalt, but above it,
yeah,
kind of treacherous.
You get above that second dotted line, that white dotted line on the top side of that racetrack, you are going for a ride. And if you don't, you're very lucky. Craven from Newburgh, Maine, still has a place up there on the lakes that he goes to. It's his kind of a getaway, so whenever he does anything good at this racetrack, he gets a huge roar. They've just not run well in races here over the course of Ricky's career. He's qualified really well, but Matt, his race results, he's trying to work on.
He is trying to improve that. You mentioned in the pre-race how excited they are about this race car. He drove to victory lane last year, hoping for another win today, but his crew chief Mike Beam just came on the radio and told Ricky, we will ride here until the air pressures build up. Then we will show them what we've got. They made a lot of changes to this race car. They felt like it was a top 10 race car, but not a winning race car, so they made some changes this morning.
And that car won at Martinsville, Virginia. A very similar shaped track, but half the size. This is the half-mile track. This is a mile.
And Kurt Busch goes by Mike Skinner. Goes to the 4th position. And did it on the outside, but Skinner gave him a little help. He did not contest that battle very much.
Yeah, in happy hour yesterday, we were looking at the cars that we felt were pretty strong on long runs. And this one right here, Kurt Busch's car, was one of the better cars. well into the run.
Talked to his crew chief, Jimmy Fenning, this morning. You know, racers aren't ones to come out and boast and just say, yeah, we're good. They're usually pretty conservative. Yeah, we think so. We're okay. Jimmy said, yeah, we got a pretty good hot rod today.
Tony Stewart, the 20 car, moves up on the pretty close to the back bumper of Greg Biffle as we see Ricky Craven trying to get position on the 4 car, and he does.
Was that bump and run we were talking about, Marlin, about an hour ago?
Yep. We're going to see a lot of that.
Another racing phrase that Skinner's going to demonstrate for you if he doesn't get back to the bottom is freight train. Cars all hitched together, making a move to his inside unless he can find that bottom lane. Ryan Newman, the early leader in the New Hampshire 300.
NBC's coverage of the New Hampshire 300 is brought.
Tell you what, Skinner dropping like a
pit
rock.
map and okay. Is it on the graphic? Okay. Thanks. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's not going to be as bad.
I would say the 4 cars loose.
Didn't notice it. Boy, 48 looks like he's holding up a whole line there, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm watching that too.
Yeah. Looking at this great race for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship that has shaped up with 10 races to go. We've been sitting around, well, who's going to win it? Who's going to win it? We want to know what you think. Log on to NBCSports.com and vote which driver you think will win the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. You can also check out the pit map for today's race where your favorite driver is set up along pit road. It's all at NBCSports.com. All right, just a minute ago, close call off of turn number 2 for Pennsylvanian Jimmy Spencer.
There he is. The target car comes off. No, and he has to jump off the throttle because it looked like he got loose. Almost got in the wall with the back end.
There's the leader, Ryan Newman. Started on the pole. He's led every lap so far. We are 15 laps in now. About to complete the 16th circuit as he comes off turn 4. And he's got Johnny Benson and Bobby Labonte towing behind in a little bit of a 3-car breakaway.
A little bit of a breakaway, but Kurt Busch is coming too.
Mikey Waltrip got up onto the bottom lane there in 3 and 4.
And he's trying to come back on the inside of Bill Elliott. Said, okay, oh man, how did he know? How did Bill know that Mikey was going to give him that spot?
Wishful thinking?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you ever, when you're behind the wheel and you're going to squeeze in line in front of somebody, I mean, do you actually like draw up and pull your arms in tight? And
I usually close the right eye. You kind of need the left one to see a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know when it's close.
Let's see, that is back at 15th, 16th, and 17th spot. Elliott in the 9 is 15th. Mikey in the 15th is, in the 15 rather, is 16th.
Am I seeing raindrops on Rusty's camera?
Yes, you were.
Yeah, weather is very much threatening the racetrack.
A few raindrops on our camera lens.
There's one. I was hoping it was a bug, but
and some of the caution is out for rain. Caution for rain. Some of the NASCAR spotters monitoring their radio channel, calling in from around the track, saying there's a couple of drops in 1, a couple of drops in 3, and now there's a couple of drops everywhere.
That's more than a couple of drops.
Well, we got 18 laps done. Now 19. And the rain is falling again here at New Hampshire International Speedway. And we've got a close one here for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Right now, everybody, though, parked under the red flag, and nothing much happening here at New Hampshire except Marty Snyder. He's happening now, aren't you, Marty?
I'm happening now. Yeah, I think that would be. Am I happening now? I'm happening because I'm with Jeff Burton. That's what Alan said. I don't know. I don't know what it meant. Anyway, you decided to stop, and you took on 4 tires. Why for both?
Well, we stopped because with the rain, we thought that we came in and got on 4 tires that it'd be beneficial. To me, when you put tires on and you go run them and then you come back and sit, they aren't as good as they are before. So we looked at the rain and thought, well, we're stopping for rain, so let's go ahead and put on 4. We can get an adjustment to our car without putting on 2, so we'll learn more about our car quicker. We gave up, some spots for pitting it all, and we gave up a few spots for putting on 2. But if we don't go back green today, we're going to be in good shape.
All right, but I think we're going to go back green. Don't you? Yeah.
I think that we're going to run 30 laps at a time here today.
That's not good. All right, Alan. Matt, sorry.
Well, Marty, down here in the Budweiser pit, hunkered underneath a Big Ten and some tarps, Dale Earnhardt Jr. How was your car before the red flag?
Well, it started off real good. I passed a bunch of cars on the outside, and we had the car working pretty good in practice. And some things we did to it got it a little bit tight in the middle, I think. We got to take some bite out and do some things. We just made a stop, fix that, and we should be good. I just want to get it loose enough where I can drive through the center of the corner. But who's the weather expert? How long is this going to stick around?
I think it's going to be gone here another 5 or 10 minutes.
Well, it don't look good. It looks pretty dark to me.
Well, I understand you've been doing some farming lately.
Yeah, I've been riding tractors and stuff. I mean, we got some land, and me and my buddies, the Dirty Mo Posse, we've been riding on tractors, bush hogging and carrying on. We made us a 4-wheeler track, stuff like that. We ain't working the land. We just playing with it. So having a good time.
Now, I understand a big part of the win for you last week in that Busch race. Yeah, it was neat to see Bono get his first win as a crew chief. But you got a couple TV sets, and also I heard you got a big gift certificate. Your cousin there, Tony Jr., was telling me you're going to go out and buy some farm implements.
Yeah, I got a $3,500 gift certificate from Steel, so I can give me some big old saws, I'm going to give me a big chainsaw, the big muffler on it, go in competition. Maybe I'll win some competitions.
Hey, now you are one of the most popular drivers in the Winston Cup Series, and I understand that, the fans, they're all over trying to get your autograph, and today you had the state police escorting you into an appearance?
Well, they do that every once in a while. When we ask for their help, they're always there. It's real crowded. A lot of these places don't have things kind of sectioned off. We got a lot of people coming to the racetrack in the morning, and we go do our Budweiser 10 appearance at 10 o'clock, so we got to get out.
That's a little early for you, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty early. I don't like it much, but anyways, we got to go out, and you got 120,000 trying to come in. So yeah, you're gonna have to get some escorts to do that.
I tell you what, I'm kind of worried. You with a chainsaw.
It's fun, man. Just stay back. If you're worried about it, don't even come over, man, because shit's gonna start flying. I'll tell you.
I think stuff will start flying. Let's go to you, Bill.
Thank you, Matt. Down here at the front of the field with Ryan Newman. I think, are you still driving laps in your head? Is that what you're doing in there?
Just kind of sitting here chilling out. It's pretty hot in here. It's kind of a oven, but the car's pretty good so far, and we're just kind of holding our own. Figured that it was going to keep at some point start raining there again. I saw the clouds over there off turn 1, and looks like it's going to get a little worse. But just kind of waiting to see how things go, whether we're going to race today or tomorrow.
I know you said your car is pretty good, just a little bit tight.
Just a little bit, not as not that bad, but I just want to know how BP's doing up there in the booth.
He's doing fine. You see, during these rain delays, you usually bring him food and drink and stuff like that.
That's important because it's important to stay well nutritious and all that stuff. So we'll see.
Tell him not to worry about me, Bill. I'm doing okay.
BP says don't worry about him. He's doing just fine. Thank you.
Okay. Just making sure, man. I care about him.
I want to ask you something. How long did it take you and Matt Borland to get your communications down? Because you're very interesting to listen to on the radio, on the scanner during the race.
Well, I guess we think alike, so we talk alike, and sometimes we don't need to talk because we think alike. So, it's a good relationship and great communication between the both of us, and hopefully we can keep the car up front today with that.
That'd be big for you, wouldn't it, to get to victory lane here this afternoon?
Yeah, but we need some cooperation with Mother Nature here.
We can't help you with that.
We're trying. I mean, it's going to make for a long day, but we've had a couple like this year, and we've run good at those too.
All right, man. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
By the way, some of the other guys got out. Did you know that?
What's that?
Some of the other guys got out of the car. Did you know that?
Yeah, they said we could get out, then they said we couldn't get out. So, seeing how I'm late, I figured I might as well listen to the rules.
All right, way to go. All right, Ryan Newman, pole sitter, rookie, looking for his first win. Dave?
All right, Bill, under my umbrella, nothing happening. But under this umbrella, had a big confab going on over here between Sterling Marlin, Tony Glover, and Lee McCall. What were you talking about there, deciding what to do next? Because you pitted under that first caution.
Just tight, and we changed some things this morning, and we fight a lot with the Dodge. It's just tight, and got springs in the rear. It all spin out on pit road, but it won't do it. It's just real tight and can't get the car turned. So we made some air pressure and some wedge and track bar adjustments, and we didn't have nothing to lose. It's going to rain, probably rain again. We'll go again and rain again. So we'll get adjusted, keep working on it all day, and see what we got.
Now, you had picked up some spots at the start of the race there. What happened at the start? Because obviously we were looking at the leaders, and you were a little bit back. What happened at the start?
Got a good run on the outside on some guys. Got with the 24 and the 48, and thought, man, it's going to be pretty good. Run about 3 or 4 laps and started getting tighter and tighter. And they was kind of loose when we started, and they got back by me. So, like I said, we just got to adjust on the car, what we got, and see what we can do.
Now, with only a few of the guys coming in during that caution, you chose to take on 2. But then again, so did everybody else. So that was kind of a wash, wasn't it? Why'd you take on 2?
Just to get your track position back, because you pretty much knew everybody behind you was going to take on 2. So put on 2. These tires are really don't fall off much, and there's no need to put on 4 in 20 laps. So just put on 2 and make a few adjustments and see what we got.
All right, we will see what they got. I promise you, because it's going to stop raining and we're going to go racing, and we will see what he has. Marty.
I've uncovered Michael Waltrip, and he has a headset on, and that scares me. So Alan and Benny and Wally, watch out, first of all. But let's talk about your race car. I saw you speeding around the track, picking up positions, and then I saw you trying the uncharted 3rd lane here at New Hampshire. What happened there?
Ricky Rudd ran into me and knocked me up there, and we talked about that. We've come to an amicable agreement about how that'll take place in the future, and I didn't do it by dotting his other eye or anything.
That was nice of you.
It was amicable.
It's very good.
Yeah, because it's second week in the NFL, I want to wear my headset like this.
Oh, okay. That's very nice. But see, then you can't quite get the microphone to your mouth. That wouldn't be good. So you may want to flip it back up. And and I'm also told that you had a little run-in with Jerry Nadeau. Is everybody running into you today, Mikey? We only ran a few laps.
It was a rough start. I was really geared up to go on the high side when I started on the outside. I knew our car was really good. Slugger and the boys gave me a great car all weekend, and so I wanted to make some time on the start. And Nadeau got into me a little bit, but it was mainly John Andretti that went straight when we got to the corner instead of making a left, and he kind of took my groove away from me and knocked me up high. But the car's really, really strong, and we felt real confident that the Napa Auto Parts, Klausner Furniture, Ritz Cracker Chevy would be good today, and very pleased with the performance. We were terrible here in July and finished 20th, and we think we got a hot rod, BP. You know how that feels.
Hey, Mikey, what do you listen to with that headset? Are you hearing me, or are you listening to a radio station?
Hearing you.
I'm hearing you, and it's something that has just brightened up my day. Nothing like a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, rainy day with BP.
Well, thank you very much, Mikey.
You remind me a little bit of Willard Scott, just kind of jovial, fun guy up on top of everything.
There you go. I wish I was a weatherman that could tell you it's going to stop raining.
Yeah, can you help us out there, BP?
Nah, Willard Scott, I'll leave that to Willard Scott.
These race fans in New England are the best in the whole country. I mean, it is so wonderful to come up here, so refreshing to see people excited and happy to cheer you on at what you love to do. And NASCAR belongs in New England, and I'm so glad we're at the Bears facility. And hopefully this cool, overcast weather will keep their track here in the Granite State from turning to gravel like it did in July.
Yeah, nobody's left, which is the amazing part. I mean, you look around, very few people left, and it's still raining.
Hey, Mikey. This is Wally.
Hey, Wally, how you been, buddy?
Look at how Marty's holding the umbrella. He's not keeping
I'm trying to help him out. I'm trying to help him out.
You're not even holding it over his head.
It's blowing from behind us, Wally, so if you were down here, maybe you'd understand.
Well, Wally, what we've got down here is a bunch of guys on pit road, Wally, Dave, just trying to beat out a story for you guys so that when they go away, y'all can shed some light on it. All they can do is expose a story. They can't really shed any light on it. So work with them, would you?
We can shed a little light.
What?
We can shed a little light, I said.
Okay.
They beat up the story.
I don't like it when people just ramble on and on, so I want to say thanks for the time on TV. We're on the mothership, aren't we? We're on NBC.
Yes.
That's big. Napa Auto Parts appreciate y'all putting me on there. And we're going to go away and watch the Carolina Panthers hopefully win their second one in a row.
Mikey, you don't need to stand on my shoulders.
Week 2 of NFL continues.
Okay. Well, but racing also continues at New Hampshire. Alan, take it away.
We get the point, Mike. We get the point. I wonder if he gets a bonus from the sponsor for that stuff. It's raining here in New Hampshire. Red flags out. Every one of the 91,000 plus seats are sold. The fans are coming back in, and we're about set to resume today's New Hampshire 300. NASCAR on NBC. Stay with us. The view of New Hampshire International Speedway from above. Note, no raindrops on the camera lens. And the red flag is rescinded. We're back under caution in the New Hampshire 300. An hour and 48 minutes. We've sat under the red. And now the field is back out on the track to make a few more laps and finish drying out the surface. Now, I have to make our singular call to the pits. Marty wanted to do it this week, but Wally changed the programming on his phone to Japanese, and Marty can't read that, so I'll have to dial up Bill Weber. Bill?
I wonder how that happened. Thank you, Alan. Sterling Marlin, the Winston Cup point leader, restarts this race in the 23rd position. He leads Mark Martin by 9 in the race for the Winston Cup Championship. Last weekend, Sterling Marlin finished 43rd at Richmond. It's the second time this season he's finished last. In the 27 years under the current point system, no driver that has won the Winston Cup Championship has ever finished last more than once. Sterling Marlin has to fight back from that and has to fight forward from 23rd. To Marty.
Bill, a word to the wise, never leave your cell phone along with Wally because he may do something to it, like put Japanese on it. Jeff Burton was 18th on lap 21. He came down pit road, gave up 10 spots to put on 4 tires. He debated with crew chief Paul Andrews as to whether or not 4 tires was the right move. They think it is because after the rain, after the track has changed, they think 4 tires will match up better than the guys in front of them who have 2 tires. 7 cars in front of Jeff Burton took 2 tires on the pit stop last time. Dave?
Marty, for Robby Gordon, it was a November to remember. He is the defending champion of this race, postponed till last November. His car was very good at getting to the bottom of the racetrack. His crew told him as much, but Robby complained that the car was a little bit tight getting off the corners. He learned this in those first 22 laps. They came onto pit road, made a chassis adjustment to loosen the car up, but put on no tires. No tires. There are 4 tires still on the car, but they didn't change them. They just made a chassis adjustment. Matt?
And Dave, that's the race that Jeff Gordon remembers. He led 257 of the 300 laps and then lost it with 17 laps to go with that bump and run. They were very cautiously optimistic after the final practice session, but they were back in July too. And then the track started to come up and they couldn't run the lane that they needed. So they couldn't go after the win. They were just trying to hang on. But the car is very good now. In fact, Robbie Loomis says right now Jeff isn't talking about any adjustments. His biggest concern is traffic, and a lot of it he will restart from the 19th position. Alan?
Okay, drivers. You're back on the racetrack that's been under wet conditions for an hour and 48 minutes as we look down on the track from our U.S. Army Skycam, an Army of 1.
I think the biggest concern, Jeff Burton talked about it, those guys that did not stop. Those tires have cooled. They were hot, they have cooled, and they're now ice cold. What kind of air pressures did they set them on? Going back, how much grip are they going to have in them? I think all those guys for the first 22 cars have got to be concerned about those tires.
I agree, and like I said earlier, BP, when I think, I'm not saying I'm right, but I think when you get a tire hot and you roll it through that water, in my mind it changes the compound, and then it cools, and then you go back out there with the same tire. So like you said, you really don't know what tire combination you have right now. Where I think the smart move was Jeff Burton coming in and putting 4 tires on.
Now that's what the drivers are thinking about. Let me tell you what the crew chiefs are thinking about. They're thinking, how many laps is this race going to be? This is Concord, New Hampshire, right there, sort of under where I made that big mess on the telestrator. We're in the clear right now, but as you can see,
it's on its way.
There's more on the way.
Well, yeah, I think you are running to halfway. Benny, don't you agree? I mean, right now you're just worried about getting halfway, not worried about running the whole race.
That's right, but that's still 125 laps. They've got to run, make a pit stop. If they're going to run on the green flag, they've got to run, make a pit stop, and then run some more. I mean, this race is not going to be over in the next hour. They've still got to go out there and run for at least an hour and a half to determine who's going to win this thing, even if they run halfway.
There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. deep in the field. Todd Bodine. The Discover Card Ford.
So I think what we're saying is it's going to be slippery.
Yeah, it's slippery.
Yeah, it's going to be slippery the first 10 or 15 laps for sure. Track is cold. Tires are cold.
Drivers are cold.
Drivers are ready.
Ready? Okay. Just joining us, welcome to NASCAR on NBC, live from New Hampshire. Here's our Pepsi race recap. We'll show you what you missed.
Not much.
We saw Dave on a new Segway trying not to fall off and telling us about tricky turn 4 here in New Hampshire, section of the racetrack that caused so much controversy in July. Ryan Newman got the jump on the start after a 58-minute delay for rain. Opening laps, some fenders wrinkled. Jimmy Spencer gave the wall a scare. Michael Waltrip and Ricky Rudd, over which they had a discussion. Then it started raining again, and they parked the field on pit road. They sat there for an hour and 48 minutes, after which time Ray Evernham's team revealed the contents of his notebook. We always thought it talked about tire pressures and things.
Silly us.
I'm telling you. Okay, pit road's open. And we should be just a couple of laps away from getting this thing back underway. Bill?
Yeah, they'll get the one to go this time by, Alan. Just wanted to point out to Wally and Benny that NASCAR allowed the teams to check and adjust the tape on the front of their car and also to adjust their air pressure. So maybe that'll help some of the guys in the front, but certainly not as much as the guys that stopped.
Yeah, that's a good point, Bill. You're right. That definitely helped. Letting them adjust the air pressure is definitely the right move.
Mike Skinner just gave up 10th spot, Benny.
We interviewed him during the rain. He talked about just how tight his race car was, and we see the crew back in the right rear making a huge adjustment. Looks like they're trying to hook up the rear sway bar, rear anti-roll bar, which will loosen the car up dramatically. That wasn't it.
Yeah, that looks like that's what they were doing, Benny. I mean, it didn't look like they're putting a rubber in there. He had a wrench in there. So they hooked that rear bar up, which will help turn that car into center. Hopefully will help the car turn. He was pushing really bad. Actually, what was happening, he was going to the corner. The car was pushing so bad. Then the thing got really loose getting off the corner. So he really had his hands full. So good time to make that change.
Coming to the green. This is good. Now let's see how long we can race under the green. Joe Nemechek just leaving the pit road as the field comes back.
Joe may go a lap down here pretty quick.
Green.
All right, let's watch these cars out of turn 1, see if they grip. Yes, so far so good.
Tony Stewart.
Tony's been up against that wall a couple times today.
Did he catch it there?
I don't think he touched it, but earlier he got real close to that turn 2 wall as well.
Here's third place. That's Kurt Busch, 97 car, working on Bobby Labonte. Tony gave that wall a little breathing room that time. Bobby Labonte, the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup champion, who's really struggled this season. Yeah, he's got to win. A lot of drivers don't have that to say for themselves this year. He won on the half mile in Martinsville, Virginia back in April. But since then, he's only got one top 10 finish.
We talked about what the crews are thinking, Alan. We talked about it. Are they thinking about a 150-lap race or a 300-lap race? We intercepted some conversation between Ricky Craven and his crew about that.
I really think about this pit strategy deal. Like I said, if we can go to lap 70 and then you stop and then we can run about 85 laps, that'll put us past the halfway. You know, just have to stop one time here.
Okay, 10-4. I'm sure that they're going to shorten this thing some too. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's already 10 after 4, so we'll have to probably stop next time, okay?
Ricky Craven running 5th, talking to his crew chief Mike Beam.
And they want a short pit. They want to stop. They don't want to go halfway to 75 and then run 75. They want to stop early, make some changes, try to get their car a little bit better and run 10 or 15 laps before their competition stops.
And that would also give them a clean pit, which is important.
Yes.
Come into pits, nobody's blocking you, so you get a good pit stop. Don't lose any time. How about Bill?
You're absolutely right. And something else here, Wally. Guys that are really sure their fuel mileage are going to benefit from here because right now they're back timing this race from 150 back to when they can get in and get their fuel and get to that halfway point.
Yep, and a guy like Jeff Burton who took 4 tires, He may be able to benefit. I'm sure a lot of guys are going to take 2, but he can certainly take 2 in gas on this next pit stop.
Yeah, thinking ahead, that might turn out to be the call of the race.
And we saw yesterday in practice, in that first practice, we feel the 97 car ran his car out of fuel just to see exactly how much fuel he could pick up.
Here's 11th place, Ken Schrader in the 36, Ricky Rudd in the 28. Kyle Petty just behind them in that 45 car.
You're talking about the fuel situation, which is going to be important today, I think. Yes, you need to know how many miles to the gallon you can run, but you also need to know how much gasoline you can pick up out of the gas tank. They all hold 22 gallons, but not everyone can use the entire 22 gallons.
Yeah, if you can get 21.8 out of there, the next guy can only get 21 out of his.
Huge advantage.
Yep.
Oh, Ricky was almost there. He's at that point that you go, don't you go.
Kind of looks like Schrader's holding some of these guys up here, you think?
Yeah, I mean, Ricky looks like he's getting through the center of the corner better for sure than Kenny is. Kenny seems to get in okay. Let's watch right here. Right at this point here, looks like the 28 gets through better. You see that left front picking up. We talked about that yesterday at happy hour. A lot of guys concentrating on trying to keep the left fronts down on the ground. Kenny's left front is not on the ground getting off the corner.
So Ricky Rudd is through into 11th spot. Now Kyle Petty's going to work on Schrader's left rear corner.
And when you see that car roll like that, that left front tire is not gripping the racetrack. So that's where these other cars that are keeping the left front down, they can turn underneath you and get underneath you.
Bill Elliott, Brickyard 400 winner, watching a little bit of that during the rain delay. If you were not aware, Elliott did go on to win that race, pretty much dominated all day.
And I was talking to Ray Evernham, the owner of this Bill Elliott Dodge this morning, the car we run along board with, and we're also checking the telemetry in this car. And Wally, that's what Ray was talking about, the left front. He said the team that can figure out how to make this left front work will be the team that can dominate. No one at this point is able to get it to do its job.
Yeah, because you see how flat the racetrack is here. And actually, you see Bill's car is fairly flat through the corners here. But what you're trying to do is you drive down that corner. All the forces want to roll the car over to the right side tires, so you lose that grip. So like Ray was saying, they try to pin that left front tire to get you through the corner.
And look at the range of RPMs on this track on the tachometer.
A low of about 5,500 up to almost 9,000 RPMs.
Some of the big fast tracks, the engines don't go more than a few thousand RPM between them.
Like Atlanta, probably from 7,500 to 9,000. All right, Bill's got to run on Kyle. Kyle.
You can run a little bit deeper if you're on the outside than the guy on the inside.
Uh-oh, trouble. Mike Skinner. That's the 4 car. And that's not good.
And there's no caution flag.
I think they're going to fix that one.
That must be comforting to run through that cloud of smoke.
And not very. Because anytime you see smoke, you know that something caused that. Normally oil caused that, and oil on these slick tires, not a good combination.
Now, yeah, Ryan Newman looked like he was the first one to get there too, so you don't know there's oil until you're in it.
Question is Skinner going to make it back around, or will he bring out a caution flag?
Nah, he'll make it.
He's rolling pretty good, and he's taking the escape road over.
Took a shortcut there.
Yep.
They don't want you to come in on the access road.
Well, he's doing that.
I'm on the access road, buddy.
There you go. Yeah. There are the top 2. Ryan Newman in the 12, Johnny Benson in the 10. They've held those 2 spots from the beginning, even through all the rain delays. NASCAR on NBC, live from New England and the New Hampshire International Speedway, where today's New Hampshire 300 is 48 laps old. All right, guys, here's our little Debbie trivia question. Remember back to Jeff Gordon's first Winston Cup championship in 1995. Who lost the point lead to Jeff at this racetrack?
That would be.
I know the answer, so okay. I can't.
Well, there it is.
There's a hint for you.
Sterling Marlin. How about that?
Hoping not to lose the championship lead to Jeff Gordon at New Hampshire in September of 2002.
I think Mark Martin right now, if we count the points, would be in front, and he would. Hey, look at that. Mark Martin would be 29 in front of Sterling Marlin.
Got a little bumper tag going on there.
Well, yeah.
Well, there's some contenders for this championship. Jimmie Johnson, Rusty Wallace, and the 24 off Jeff Gordon.
By the way, just to update those positions, Mark Martin's running in 9th. Sterling Marlin is in 21st right now.
And the 48 of Jimmie Johnson in 17th, Rusty 18th, and Jeff Gordon 19th. And guess who's right behind Jeff Gordon? Robby Gordon.
Apparently Rusty Wallace has gotten into a little rubbing with Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, he has.
Whoa!
Oh, my goodness.
That's sideways there.
Glove saving a beauty.
Good job, Rusty.
So that's how he got behind Jimmie Johnson. And he's trying to get back around him now. Todd Bodine is being warned that he is in danger of not making the minimum speed right now.
I think he probably knows that.
Yes. I guess.
Yeah, all the gauges look real good.
Uh-oh.
Real post you, Todd.
What was that?
Bring it in, look at it, so you can see what it is.
Gear or transmission?
It's one of those real important parts that you have to go fast.
That clanking noise is never good.
There's the 12 car, Ryan Newman. He's in the lead, only one car out of the race. Mike Skinner's in the garage with Dave.
And really disappointing, Alan, after he started 5th today. Mike, did it give you any signs that it was giving up?
No, I felt a little flutter, looked up in the mirror, seen a lot of smoke. I looked at the gauges, everything looked fine. Just a lot of smoke out the back, smelled it. I knew the engine cut loose. It started locking up. It's really a shame. I mean, we had a rough week. We had a crash testing earlier in the week. These guys never gave up. They just kept working. We came up here and put this Kodak Max Films car in the top 5. Probably had a car, we were going to level out 10th to 15th. It wasn't good enough. We were going to come in early, adjust on this race car, try to get this Kodak car in better shape. And I just want to say thanks to all the team. They kept on working. They ain't give up. Having a lot of motor problems.
Mike Skinner done for the day. Somebody else having troubles would be Todd Bodine as we watch this race for 5th between Ricky Craven and Tony Stewart.
And Mark Cass, one of the tire changers on the 26 car, looks like he's...
No, they're not looking at the transmission, are they?
No, looking at the engine.
This is a camera mounted on Mark's helmet.
Yes, he's one of the tire changers. He agreed to carry the helmet. I was trying to figure out where he was standing. He must be standing on pit wall.
Standing right there, just...
Well, that is a weird-looking camera, isn't it?
No, there he is. He's standing up.
He's standing up. It looks like he's head and shoulders above all these guys.
Well, the camera's about another foot higher than his head. So.
A valve or something.
Now, Nemechek was coming off a pit road when they went green.
Right, Joe in the 25, so he's about to be lapped by the leader, Ryan Newman, in the 12. And Newman messing around in this traffic has allowed Benson in the 10 and Bobby Labonte to close in.
Kurt Busch is right there.
Yep. This is definitely one of those racetracks where 2 cars side by side lose an extreme amount of time to the guy that's running single file.
Yes, they do. And now Benson has to get by the 25 car. And try to keep the 18 car behind him.
So Joe Nemechek goes a lap down. He's the 40th place car. The 02 just in front of leader Ryan Newman is Hermie Sadler. Virginia driver in 39th place, also about to go a lap down. After 2 rain delays, we're underway. Just shy of 60 laps in New Hampshire. Back in New Hampshire International Speedway, don't forget our coverage of NASCAR moves back to TNT next Sunday. The Monster Mile in Dover. High banked, high speed, lots of action next Sunday on TNT at 12:30 Eastern Time.
Meanwhile, the 12 car, Ryan Newman, was able to get by some traffic and moved out to about a 1.5 seconds in front of Johnny Benson. Well, now Benson caught the traffic. He's been able to get by it now. Newman's behind Brett Bodine trying to get by him. He's losing some of his advantage.
John Andretti just lost 8th place in the 43 car.
Ooh, that's going to cost Ryan right there.
Watch ahead.
Wow, he hit pretty hard. But there's a lot of debris up there right now. There's a lot of rubber and debris, like what we talked about on the outside of the groove in turn 4. So these guys have to be careful not to get out there.
It's mentioned they've taken Todd Bodine's car back to the garage to take a look at it. Morgan Shepherd has taken his car into the garage, and it's been retired from the race. Elliott Sadler, 36th place car, about to be lapped by leader Ryan Newman.
Elliott told me this morning that he really had struggled this weekend trying to find the proper setup on this motorcraft board. He said they'd struggled, they tried all different things, and nothing really felt decent to him.
They were really good here in July.
Really good. That describes that 12 car.
Yeah, he's really good. I'll tell you what, Johnny Benson's pretty good right now, too.
Dave?
With Todd Bodine, Allen started 35th. Motor problems, Todd. Looks like they're working on it. Can they get you back out?
Don't know. Something in the valve train, it looks like maybe broke a rocker arm or something. It's a shame. We had a good race car. We broke through that traffic. Matt Kenseth, Jeff Burton, myself were starting to pull away. Just kind of on cruise control, running the same speed as the leader. Had a really good car. The Discover Card Ford was really good. It's a shame. Seems like we can't get any luck. You know, we get a couple good races and we have a couple bad ones, but we're not giving up. It's a great race team. We got a lot of races left. We're going to go try to win some.
All right, they aren't giving up yet. Todd stays buckled in the car, and the crew keeps working under the hood. Alan?
This is the best race on the speedway right now, Dave. It's Ricky Craven in the 32, Tony Stewart in the 20 for 5th and 6th place. Stewart's been knocking on Craven's back bumper a couple of times off of turn 2, and he just can't get by.
Yeah, they keep, it looks like, well, he's going to get by there if he uses that bumper again.
Well, he's got to run this time.
Yeah, he does. They pull it off this time. Yeah, Craven backed off and said, okay.
So Stewart to 5th, Craven to 6th, and that's Greg Biffle in the 55, right behind him. Next in line to challenge.
See Stewart give Ricky Craven a wave out there, thanking him for giving him a break.
Little give and take.
Little give and take. Goes a long way.
Ryan Newman is taken. He's taken the lead for all of the laps that have been run so far. 70 complete. We're closing in on a quarter distance at New Hampshire. Back live at New Hampshire, caution is out. An incident between Rusty Wallace and Kyle Petty. We'll show it to you in a moment. Both have driven away. First, here come the leaders in for stops. Marty.
Johnny Benson is in 2nd. He was a little tight, wants to turn better in the center, but they will make no changes. They debated on a wedge adjustment. They decided not to do it. Bill.
Bobby Labonte in the 18, Ryan Newman in the 12. Both are a little tight. It's a chassis adjustment for both cars, also an air pressure adjustment for the 12 of Ryan Newman. Labonte had been very quiet on the radio till just before the caution when he said tight, tight, tight. Waiting on the left front, Newman and Labonte and the 10 of Benson race off pit road.
I believe Benson got him.
I think you're right, Benny.
Stop, boys. I believe you beat him off the end. Good job, boys. Leaders right there.
That's James Ince, Johnny's crew chief. Matt, how about Craven?
Well, Alan, he hit pit road in the 6th position. The car was tight. They made a track bar adjustment, 4 tires. They also made a little tug on the fender.
So, Bill, go ahead.
Just a quick update on the 2. Rusty's got right front damage. They're also looking underneath the left front, trying to pull the sheet metal away, calling out some directions. They're going to try and put him down and get him back out, but I'm not sure he's going to beat the pace car. Yeah, now they're going to send him out so he can beat the pace car and stay on the lap. But he'll be right back. Alan.
A lot of damage over there behind the front wheel as well.
Rusty and Kyle Petty were the 2 that tangled to bring out the caution flag. It was down in turn 1.
Yeah, Rusty had passed the 17 car going down the front straightaway, and I guess the 45 was right in front of him. There's Rusty Wallace.
Kyle looked like he got out the corner in trouble there.
And so Rusty dives under the 17. The 48 car goes. Rusty thinks that there's a hole going to be there when he gets there, and guess what? There wasn't a hole.
Take a look here. They all get in pretty good. Rusty got in there way high. I mean, he really drove that car in there. He drove over Kyle.
So a wreck that winds up in turn 1 starts in turn 4.
Yeah. because Kyle looked like he got off before in trouble.
On board with Rusty Wallace. Watch this car go up in the air. Watch it jump up in the air.
And, you know, Rusty looked like he was saving that thing when he got into turn 1 there. You can see the car moving right to left, which meant he looked like he was saving it.
And check the race off of pit road.
Benson definitely beat him.
It's Benson. And then it's
Bobby Labonte.
Bobby. And then it's
Ricky Craven.
Ricky Craven. So Newman goes back to 4th.
So second leader of the race is Johnny Benson, the first New Hampshire race that he has led since he led 17 laps in his first ever Winston Cup race here back in 1996.
Hey, you got the right races?
Something flew out of one of these cars, and I'm not sure exactly what it was. Rusty goes in the corner. He makes contact with Kyle. And then it's like if this thing going across the racetrack, I don't know what that is. It hits the wall, so it's pretty solid.
It's big and solid, yeah.
Let's try this.
It came off of Rusty's right rear?
Yeah, it came out of Rusty's car.
Is it a right rear spring, or what in the world? I don't.
It looked like a spring.
I don't know what it was, but obviously the car needs it, or he wouldn't have it on there.
Yeah, it's an important piece.
Yeah, it's an important piece.
Here we are, back to those important things again. So Rusty continues to fight to try and stay on the lead lap. Kyle Petty as well, as their crews make repairs to their cars. Johnny Benson leads. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Back live in New Hampshire, getting ready for the restart. A correction.
We had the wrong line. We were looking at the white line, and it's the yellow line, which Ryan Newman did beat Johnny Benson out.
And NASCAR has rectified the situation. They put the 12 car of Newman in front.
Now the two cars ahead of Ryan Newman on the racetrack, the 55 and the 21. Biffle and Sadler, tail end of the lead lap. They are a mile behind the leader. But by the other guys pitting and the pace car picking up the field and so on, they're caught at what we call the tail end of the lead lap.
And the 55 car made what we thought was an unscheduled start, but was trying to do some strategy. In fact, one of our guys in the pits told us he ran out of fuel.
Yeah, early, didn't he?
Yes.
Do not adjust your set.
Bill, did he run out of fuel? I'm sorry, it was Marty.
That was me. Didn't you see me on pit road, BP? I had my hand up.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes, he did run out of fuel as he was coming down pit road, Benny. I asked crew chief Jimmy Elledge, is it a fuel pickup problem like you mentioned earlier? He said no, it got all 22 gallons. They just ran out getting terrible fuel mileage on that 55 car.
Boy, they got bottled up there behind some of the lap cars. Newman leads. Benson is second. Bobby Labonte third. Ricky Craven fourth. Kurt Busch is fifth. Big loser on the pit stops was Tony Stewart, who came in fifth, went out 11th. Also, Ken Schrader came in 11th and went out 20th.
And look at Benson. He's giving Ryan Newman all he wants for the lead. So I guess Benson didn't get credited with leading the lap, did he?
No.
So he still hadn't led a lap here.
Upon further review. So I guess I have to stick that card back in the file for later. Ryan Newman, 24. You know what? These two guys here, Benny, you know, in golf they talk about best player never to have won a major. I think most people generally consider these two guys best driver not to have won a race yet.
Well, Benson is a relatively young guy. After all, this is his bestest rookie year. Benson's been around a good while, but in Johnny Benson's 10 car, he is just a win waiting to happen. And the same thing for Ryan Newman. What'd you tell me? He's had 5 career second place finishes, Ryan Newman?
Yeah. As we watch Tony pick up the 9th spot from Jeremy Mayfield. Bill, what happened on that pit stop?
Well, they were pitted just behind Rusty Wallace. The right front tire that was coming off the car got tangled up in one of the 2 crewmen's legs. So they had to get that tire, bring it back, then took extra time to get the left front on. That's why they lost time on pit road.
Well, it doesn't take much. Just the least hiccup down there and you lose 5 or 6 spots on the racetrack.
Johnny Benson's car is working a little bit better right now than Newman's car in the center.
Close. Very close. If that had been the last lap, Benson would have gone on.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, so we're going to...
Watch right here. More than 3 and 4, but see how Newman slides up the racetrack? And Johnny can keep that car down a little bit lower. And usually, eventually, that works to your favor. Because if the guy's pushing, he's going to just push worse and worse as it goes on.
Here goes Benson for the lead. Yeah, good run.
He's got to run it in hard now.
Now let's see what happens.
Yep,
Side
he
by
ran
side.
It in hard.
Ryan's going to try to cut back.
Don't slide too far. Don't slide. Yep, he got it. Good move.
All right, now Johnny Benson. I should let him come back around to the start-finish line. I'm not saying a thing till he gets back here with the lead officially, because it only counts at the start-finish line.
I think you're safe.
Okay, you can talk now.
All right, remember what I said before about Benson leading here? It applies now.
Okay.
Brutal season for Johnny Benson. Injured twice in crashes. Once in Richmond at May, again at Daytona the first weekend of July. Missing races both times to nurse rib injuries. A team that had high hopes of finishing in the top 10 in the championship this season. And right now Benson is mired 34th in points because of those missed races. But he's out front now in the New Hampshire 300. NASCAR on NBC is live at the New Hampshire International Speedway, where Johnny Benson leads the New Hampshire 300. 58 minutes delayed by rain from the start. Ran 22 laps, red flag for an hour and 48 minutes, then back underway. Ryan Newman led the first 87 laps, then Benson got by him just after a series of pit stops.
And they just passed, excuse me, the 55 car of Greg Biffle to put him a lap down.
Things to update you on. Kevin LePage's car has just been pushed back to the garage, and Dave is with him.
And Kevin is here. Kevin, your car quiet. What happened?
I'll tell you, first of all, get well quick, Derek Cope. This friendly four was running pretty good. We qualified 26 the other day, and just out there biding their time, and I think something went south in the motor. I hate it for the guys, but we came here and we showed what a little small independent team can do with a new sponsor, Friendly's Ice Cream, qualified in the top 30, or top 20, should I say. And I think we had a top 25 car today, but we'll get them next week.
All right, remember something for Derek Cope, who was injured at Richmond, Alan?
Yeah, Derek, with that savage crash in the NASCAR Busch Series race at Richmond 1 week ago Friday, continuing to mend the broken shoulder, broken leg, and I understand from some folks down in the garage, in particular Ernie Cope, today, that Derek also has a torn ACL as a result of that crash and is going to have to get that fixed up, and we certainly hope he has a speedy and full recovery.
The 31 car, Robby Gordon, started in 29th, and that last pit stop, they changed 2 tires to get some track position, and it worked. They were up about 7th, but they have lost about 5 or 6 spots in the last few laps, so that 2-tire stop is starting to show its effects.
Yeah, now he's back. Now he's back to losing 6 spots. BP restarted 7th. He's down in 13th. Now, interesting, scary moment on pit road just a moment ago. Ward Burton and Dave Blaney's cars are pitted back to back. Blaney toward turn 1 from Ward. Inside the magnified area, the rear tire gets away from Blaney's car. When the crewman goes to get it on pit road to avoid a penalty, that's the instant that Ward Burton's car comes down off the jack and he leaves.
And runs into the poor fella, knocks him on the ground. Fortunately, Ward stopped so he could get out.
And the crewman bounced right up, went out, got the tire, went back, around to the left side of the car, and finished the stop.
I'd get up quick, too, before Ward finished the job.
Yeah. Close call. Everybody's okay. Everything's really okay for Johnny Benson. Second leader of the race as we check the Napa Field summary. Ryan Newman led 87 laps. Benson's been out in front now for 13. 2 cautions, one for rain, the other for the Rusty Wallace Kyle Petty scrap up at lap 75. And the cars out of the race, Kevin LePage, Morgan Shepherd, and Mike Skinner. Past the 1/3 point of the New Hampshire 300. Benson leads. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Running late, but running under the green and closing in on halfway. It's the New Hampshire 300 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Johnny Benson is the race leader just past the 1/3 point. Time for our singular call to the pits. Marty, did you get your phone switched from Japanese back to English so you can dial it yet?
I am all English all the time now. Don't worry about me, Alan. I fixed Wally's little trickery there. And Alan, I know you're a big music buff. You remember that Twisted Sister song, "We're Not Gonna Take It Anymore"? That's Johnny Benson's new motto. James Ince told me this morning this team is fed up with finishing outside the top 10. They know they can win. They're going to prove it today. He said, we're full of spit and vinegar today. We're going to show everybody the car is good. Just a little bit tight for Benson at the end of the run, but he's happy out front. Bill.
Ryan Newman started on the pole, led a bunch of laps, and gave up the lead on the track to Johnny Benson. This rookie with the 5 career second place finishes, 4 of them so far this season. His car on this set of tires after the last adjustment, tight in the middle. So he's tight in the middle of the turns. That's what's slowing him up. That's what allowed Benson to get by. As for the 18 of Bobby Labonte, no complaints, really no comments from Labonte. He had a lot of trouble working through traffic. That cost him a little bit of time, but he's been able to move up to 3rd. So Bobby Labonte looking for his first win since Martinsville, up to 3rd place on the racetrack. As for Kurt Busch, he says his car needs more forward bite right now. Busch currently running in the 4th position. They're all chasing the leader, Johnny Benson. Matt?
Bill, Ricky Craven runs in the 5th position, about 0.3 of a second a lap slower than the leader, Benson, 5.3 seconds behind. The car was tight on the first run, right in the middle of the corner. They made a track bar and air pressure adjustment. 5 or 7 laps after that, he said, whatever you gave me, give me some more. It's starting to come to me, but now the car is starting to fade, Bill.
Tony Stewart, currently running in the 6th position, has had to work his way back up to the front. Remember, he lost positions on pit road when his tire got tangled up with a crewman from the 2 team. That cost him a couple of seconds, sent him back in the field, has worked his way back up to 6th, has not made any comment about the condition of the car. Matt?
Bill, Mark Martin still trying to find his first win here in the Magic Mile. 2nd 3 times. He currently runs in the 7th position. They made a wedge adjustment out of stop, but Mark just radioed his crew chief, Ben Leslie, and said the track is starting to come apart again. He wants that half around the wedge put back into the car on his next stop. Bill?
Well, a good run for John Andretti in the 43 Dodge out of Petty Enterprises. Andretti's best finish so far this year, 10th at Sonoma. Currently running in the 8th position. A good pit stop and a good handling race car so far for the 43 of Andretti. As for Ricky Rudd, his crew chief, Michael McSwain, just told me his car's running very well. He continues to be all over the rear bumper of the 43 car. We know about Rudd's situation last week. Did get himself a top 10 finish. Would like another one here, possibly a win at a track where he's been to victory lane. Ricky Rudd still trying to hunt down a Winston Cup championship. Marty.
Bill, this morning, Slugger Labby, the crew chief for Michael Waltrip, told me that yesterday was the best 2 practice sessions they've had all year long. They were very happy with the car. It's showing on the racetrack right now. He starts off a little loose, but he gets a little tight at the end of the run. That's happening to Michael right now. He's up in the 10th position. Slugger told me it's very good.
Michael running about 12.8 seconds behind that 10 car. Johnny Benson out in front, about to complete lap 115. The weather's still an issue. The radar shows there is moisture around the area. It's not falling here at the racetrack yet, though, and we'll hope it doesn't until we get past halfway and this becomes an official race. Marty.
Alan, last week's winner, Richmond, Matt Kenseth, having a fine run. He starts loose, just like Michael Waltrip, right in front of him at the beginning of the run. The car really comes to him at the end of the run, and he tries to take a peek under Michael into turn 1 right there, and they are very happy with the car right now. This is not the car that won last week at Richmond. This is the car that led the most laps here in July. Dave?
Jimmie Johnson started this race 19th, Marty. On the first run, his car got tight. They made a 4-tire change and a wedge adjustment. Boy, did they get that car loose. He's now a little bit loose in, a little little bit loose on the gas, but he's not really that unhappy with it. A guy who is mad at his car right now is Robby Gordon. His car was pretty good, and as you guys already mentioned upstairs, he lost a bunch of positions because in correcting Robby Gordon's car, his car got really, really loose, and that's the problem that he's fighting right now. Matt?
Dave, after finishing 10th at Richmond in the garage area at Richmond, the team decided they were going to take this race car to New Hampshire. So the crew guys got into a van instead of flying home and followed the transporter back to the shop and started doing an all-nighter, turning this race car around. On his first stop, the car was tight. They made an air pressure and wedge adjustment, but now Jeremy says the tires are just not coming in at all for us. Marty?
Matt Dale Jarrett may not be having the kind of horsepower day that he wants. He said after the red flag was lifted, he noticed that the car is not running as well on the straightaways as it was before the red flag. Many times we've seen rain affect engines. Could be happening for Dale Jarrett right now. He was a little bit tight before and said nothing since. Matt?
Marty, remember the 29 car of Kevin Harvick. He pitted under that first caution. They took out right side tires. Made a track bar adjustment and air pressure because the car was extremely tight up off the corner. On his last stop, they took on lefts only. One round out of the left rear. He currently runs in the 16th position, not making a lot of gain, Bill.
Originally, Ward Burton thought his Dodge was starting to come to him, but his last radio transmission said, I don't know what to do. It seems to be handling different every lap. That lap, he was able to get past the 29 car. So maybe the car is coming to him. They put on scuff tires on their last stop. And the guy that the 22 hit was Larry Robinette from the 77 crew. He's fine. He's back here on the wagon getting ready for their next stop. Marty?
Jimmy Spencer in the 18th position is turning some pretty good lap times as Bill Elliott chases him on the racetrack. He is tight behind other cars. Really seems to affect him when he gets up close to a car. That's one of the reasons he kind of dropped back from Kevin Harvick. Could not get any grip on the front end of that race car for Spencer. They rarely need a good run, this team does. Only 2 top 10s in the last 14 races, Bill.
Bill Elliott says right now the car is, quote, not too bad, unquote. It starts off kind of free on the tire pressure they had, but it seems to come to him. So right now, Bill Elliott pleased with how his Dodge is handling for Ray Evernham Motorsports. Matt?
Bill Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking to turn around his New Hampshire history. 1 top 10 here in a Busch car, 1 top 10 in a Winston Cup car. Right now he's fighting extremely tight race cars, but he's been fighting that all day. They've made wedge adjustments. They still can't get that race car to come in like Junior would like it. Also, Jeff Gordon, it's been the best of times and the worst of times over the past 4 races here in New Hampshire. In 2001, he led the most laps in both races. Did not lead a lap here in July, and he's struggling here today. He said to his crew chief, Robbie Loomis, I am way out to lunch. I do not know what to tell you to make the car better. Robbie replied, you are Jeff Gordon, 3-time New Hampshire winner. You've got about 200 laps to try to figure it out, and we'll get it back. Dave.
The guys on the 23 did a great job working on Kenny Wallace's car before and after the rain delay. They fixed the spark plug problem, and Kenny Wallace is back up to speed, running well. The 40 car of Sterling Marlin, your points leader. Well, his day started with the car being tight. They made a track bar, a wedge, and an air pressure adjustment. It was still tight. They came in this last time, made another air, wedge, and track bar adjustment. It is still tight. The points leader struggling right now here in Loudon. Marty?
Jeff Burton had a pretty good car on the last run, Dave. He got a little too tight at the end, so they made an air pressure and a wedge adjustment, and they went too far. It started off really loose on this last run, but it does come to him the longer he goes. Sitting in 24th right now. Alan?
Okay. So
now that was a through the field.
Yeah.
Good job, boys.
Took you 24 deep there. And out of 32 that are on the lead lap. They're all chasing Johnny Benson, who's out in front, continuing to run some really solid lap times. And as you can see, expanding his gap on second place Ryan Newman as we go along. 25 laps from halfway. So are we racing to halfway? What's going to happen? Stay with us. We'll come back to New Hampshire in a minute. Coming up next weekend, it's Dover, Delaware, and the Monster Mile. Coverage on TNT. Friday Bud Pole qualifying, Saturday's NASCAR Busch Series race, and the chase for the championship continuing next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern on TNT.
A high-banked 1-mile racetrack, and we'll see those cars side by side at Dover next week.
Now, here at New Hampshire today, the drama continues to build. We're closing in on halfway. 18 laps from the midway point of this race. We're hearing there's rain in the area, and it's close.
I don't know. Tough choices to make right now, don't you think, Marty?
That's why these guys get paid all the big money. You were just handed a note by one of your crew members that rain's 5 miles away. How good of a poker player are you?
Well, I'm not sure. We've lost these things about every way you can lose one today. I'd like to win it every way we can win it. So, South Lane Pontiac's a really good race car right now. I just assume go green all the way, but if rain's going to come, as long as we're leading, we find winning.
So do you leave them out there as long as you can?
Yeah, we can go to about lap 60 to 165. We're in decent shape right now.
All right, I think the new attitude for this team's working pretty well, Bill.
Very loud here in turn 1. Can you make it to halfway? Can you catch the leader?
Yeah, we can make it halfway. The question, we can just make it past that. The next question is going to be whether to come in and get fuel or not, or is it going to return rain? So we'll see.
Matt.
And down here in the 32 pit, Mike Beam, how are you going to play the strategy?
Well, you know, Matt, it's rain right here. It's a racetrack, say about 5 miles away. So we can go to about lap 162, 65. So we're going to go as long as we can. At least get halfway here and see what happens.
Nobody would love to win a race here in New Hampshire more than Maynard Ricky Craven. Currently runs in the 6th position.
You got to go as long as you can, especially if you know rain's coming. So really what it comes down to, BP, is the gas mileage guys that did their homework win.
And if we get to 165, they're all talking about 165. Do they just gas one can, stop for 6 or 7 seconds? Do they change 2 tires? What do you do?
If I looked at the radar correctly, I think I'd gas and go.
And 1 can or 2 cans, or what do you think? See, so many choices, Wally.
I know.
Doesn't it depend on what you're racing for, too? I mean, if you're racing for the championship, does that affect your decision? Rather than if you're racing for a win, a hungry guy like a Ryan Newman or Johnny Benson?
Yeah, exactly, Bill. Sterling, Marlin, Jeff Gordon, if they were in this position, they could not gamble. They'd have to change tires, put in all the gas and everything else. But these guys going for victory, they can do anything they want to. It's going to be interesting to see what they choose.
And the question becomes, you know, the one thing you're playing against is the rain. You can't tell when it's going to start. You can't plan on anything.
You don't know what lap it's coming.
Yeah.
And Rusty Wallace got to be crushed here, about to go a lap down the leader.
Let's ride with Harvick here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's loose off.
Loose off.
When the back end tries to pass the front end, it's pretty safe to say you're loose.
Yeah.
The junior passed him for 17th spot. Now Harvick's lost another one. Jimmy Spencer got by him. Okay, another lap closer to halfway for Benson. 2 first-time winners this season. Kurt Busch at Bristol, Jimmie Johnson at California, and of course we're saying all of this figuring on that the race ends just past halfway, and that's not necessarily a given either, right?
How about this Kurt Busch? And we know that the Jack Roush cars go a long ways on fuel. Here he is trying to go to 2nd spot. Marty, did you have something fresh on the 10-car pit strategy?
Well, just FYI, BP, everybody's talking about trying to make it to lap 165. James Ince, Johnny Benson's crew chief, has burned up the calculator 2 or 3 times. They can only go look to lap 155 before they have to stop. So that could play problems for these guys.
And play into these guys' hands right here, the 97 car.
And Greg Biffle, we talked about the 55.
Being the short and running out of fuel earlier.
Looks like he's run out of fuel again. He just made a pit stop, and we see here's Kurt Busch. Marty, they out of fuel again?
No, they're not out of fuel this time, BP, but they did not want to run out. But this is about the sequence we should see. He ran about 15 laps less than Johnny Benson did earlier, and Johnny was really close in his fuel window when they did come down for the caution last time. So this is about when Biffle should have pitted, so the leader should be pitting in about 15 laps or so.
Wow. Johnny trying to put a lap on Mike Wallace.
Yep, slid up the racetrack there. Couldn't get it done.
14 car in 31st place, last one on the lead lap.
And there's Newman, really closed up on him.
And look at this, and there goes Newman, and there goes Kurt Busch.
And that's all it takes is one little slip, and boom, 2 positions.
And James Ince said we've lost him every kind of way. Could this be another? And look at the 97 car on the apron trying to pass the 12.
Johnny Benson ran up on Mike Wallace trying to put him a lap down, couldn't get by him, dropped from first to third. Now he's got to get back by Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman.
This could get ugly.
And we're coming up on halfway, and there's rain in the area, and they're all getting low on fuel. Johnny was having some troubles getting by some lap cars earlier too. This is him trying to get by Rusty Wallace.
I thought that he was in front of the 14 car a moment ago as he's trying to put Rusty a lap down. Looks like
Rusty did move down on him a little bit.
And he makes contact there, which allowed the 14 car to get by.
Ryan Newman hasn't been able to go by Mike Wallace either.
And on the other hand, Rusty is trying to stay on the lead lap.
Benny and Wally, you know how it feels when you're racing another guy, you, mano a mano for the win. That's exactly how every pit crewman on pit road feels right now. They know there's an excellent chance the winner of this race is going to be determined by the next pit stop. The question is, will they get to that pit stop before the rain comes?
Bill, you are so right. Those guys are sweating bullets right now. But I'm telling you, BP, I'd be wanting one can of gas. I'm going to throw the dice and say one can of gas and get me out front, and hopefully the rain will come.
Okay, we'll see if that works, because I think you're right. I think the rain looks to me like it's
getting darker.
Away.
It's getting darker.
Remember that the rule in NASCAR racing is once the leader has completed half of the advertised distance, if circumstances prevent the resumption of the race, it is concluded at that point and considered official. So today, once the leader completes 150 laps here at New Hampshire, the race, if it got rained on and couldn't be restarted before dark, would then become official.
How about a Marky Mark? He was 7th spot.
At 7th spot and had up the NASCAR Winston Cup points lead for the championship, and has made contact with the wall.
He looks like he's coming to the pits. He may have a tire down. Right rear flat. Can you believe that?
Man, oh man. But this might not be too bad.
That's true. He's got to stop anyway.
Got to stop anyway.
He's lost a lot of ground, though, in that slow lap around.
That's the downside. Matt?
And you can see the 6 car, Mark Martin is in. Possible trouble on the right front, the air impact gun. He's backing the car up.
He was over the front line, Matt.
Boy, one problem for Mark Martin goes into another. Tough luck. A long stop for Mark Martin. But like you guys said, he had to pit at some point anyway, but this is going to be a long stop.
Man, look out.
And he almost hits the jack man as he leaves.
Yeah, he's got to go. Yeah, he would have waited for those left sides. That would have been it. He would have been 2 laps, 3 laps down.
So that could be a costly moment in the championship for Mark Martin. We'll see where he shakes out here after he comes back across the start-finish line.
Well, there comes the leader. If he can stay in front of these guys, but they've got the momentum. Oh, and they got a crash.
John Andretti and Ward Burton.
Ward Burton's got a right front down, it looks like.
So far, no caution. So far.
Yeah, right front tire is definitely flat.
There is none anymore.
Okay, Ward, easy. Easy, Ward.
He cannot turn that car. Very easy.
And while this is going on, Benson continues to work on Kurt Busch, who continues to work on Ryan Newman for the race lead. And the weather's around.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
4 tires, guys. You're gonna.
Look at this. Newman, Kurt Busch still hung up in the lap traffic. Mark Martin behind him, desperately wanted to make up a lap.
Boy, Ryan was loose that time, getting off before.
Oh, Mike Wallace trying to get by the 29 car. Is Kurt Busch going to try it on the outside?
Now, Ryan's going to have to use that bumper here pretty quick. He's going to have to get going.
Here comes Mark Martin on those 2 fresher tires. Thought he was going to make a move in there. Now, when they come to the start-finish line this time by, the starter will show them the crossed flags. Halfway, done. Here they come. Crossed flags are out. This is now past halfway in this race. If weather comes from here on out, it could be the end of things today.
Now, the 12 is praying for rain. Kurt Busch and Johnny Benson are not.
No. Mark Martin certainly doesn't want to see it rain right now. He wants all these other cars to have to pit before it rains. Look at that. Mark Martin goes from 9 back to 51 back, and he was out running Sterling Marlin all day long. Just a flat tire.
Mark has ended up 2 laps down in 33rd place, while Sterling is running in 19th on the lead lap, and Jimmie Johnson is also on the lead lap up in 10th. Okay, let's go back and see if we can figure out what happened between John Andretti and Ward a minute ago.
Okay, looks like Ward just dove down there underneath John, slid up into his left rear.
And sliding across the racetrack is what caused the right front tire to go flat on the 22 car. On board Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Spin in front of you, spin in front of you. Got 1 slow high, 2 slow high. Come through low. Clear, clear. Keep rolling, no caution, no caution. Don't slow down.
How often do you get 2-car spin and don't hit anything here in New Hampshire?
Not too often.
So now, when are the leaders going to have to pit? When might rain come to play?
Well, based on the calculations of our crack pit reporters, they were talking, what, 160, 165?
Who's that? Harvick and Martin bounced off each other.
Yeah, well, that started over there 1 and 2. I mean 3 and 4.
Now Benson has fallen back into the clutches of Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart here. This is for 3rd place. Bobby's looking. Oh, Harvick flat left front.
And those guys, like I said, earlier in the lap, Mark and the 29 car, Kevin Harvick, looked like they bounced off each other in 3 and 4. Which probably resulted in that left front tire going down.
So now we see all these flat tires going on. Now I've got to change my strategy when I'm making a pit stop, even though it may rain. Oh man, this is really a tough deal. Do I change 4 tires? Now obviously they have to change 4 because of the flat.
Look at the jack man. See,
he's trying to get the car up in the air because they couldn't get the jack under it, right, Matt?
Benny, you're exactly right. Because of that flat left front, they could not get the jack under it. Now he's finally pulling away. The 19 car is also in, making a wedge adjustment. The 19, remember a Dodge, they don't get the best fuel mileage pulling out of spring rubber. They've got enough fuel in, and he's good to go.
All right, you ever see Ryan Newman? When are these guys going to make it? Ryan Newman's coming to pit road.
All right, leaders in, getting all he could, getting off the racetrack speed-wise, too. Kurt Busch is in the lead.
There is a speed limit on pit road. These cars can only run 45 miles per hour. Coming down to you, Bill Weber.
This has been amazing, BP. Some of these crew chiefs look like a third base coach flashing signs so no one else will know what the team's going to do. This is expected to be 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel for Ryan Newman. He felt the front tires chattering earlier in this run, but he said that went away, and the car was feeling pretty good as he came down pit road. It is 4 tires and fuel for Ryan Newman, looking for his first Winston Cup win. Snyder.
James Ince said he drained every ounce of fuel he could out of this Valvoline Pontiac. They went 1 lap further than they thought they could, 156. He said, I can't chance it anymore. Johnny is tight. They take a pound out of the right front tire for Johnny Benson. Today is career start number 218 for 219 for Johnny Benson. It might be career win number 1. Running in 3rd when he came down pit road. It'll be 4 tires and another great stop by this team.
If those guys had known they had damage to that right front, they should have pulled that fender out while they were there.
He did. The right front tire carrier rolled the tire across in front of the car, then went back around and grabbed that fender and yanked it away.
Good.
So much for the gas and go.
Yeah.
Ticker at the top of the screen. Drivers whose names are highlighted in yellow, those are the guys who have stopped in this cycle of pit stops. Those in white have not come to pit road yet this cycle through. There's your leader, Kurt Busch. 2.8 seconds now, back to 2nd place, Tony Stewart.
And he's got some damage to that right front as well, Weber.
And it's a long run down pit road for Tony Stewart. He's got his Bobby Labonte right behind him. Labonte's going to have to swing around the 2-car of Rusty Wallace to get into his stall. They get the right sides on the 20, fueling it as well. To the right sides in a chassis adjustment. It's an air pressuring chassis adjustment on the 18 of Bobby Labonte as they adjust the track bar. Around to the left side for both cars. The 2 cars left, so they should have easy out. Tony Stewart begins to crawl out. Now Bobby Labonte on the gas and on his way. Stewart beat him out.
See that brake dust fly off of Stewart's car?
Yeah. All those cars. Ryan Newman, when he made his stop, the left front, just a host of brake dust fell out of that car.
Dale Jarrett's in, Marty.
He was up to the 5th position now, and the car was started a little bit loose, but it was pretty good at the end of that run for Dale Jarrett. It will be 4 tires. They talked about making no changes, and that looks like what they stuck with.
Marty, Ricky Craven has an open pit stall in front. He slides to a stop. They're making a track bar adjustment. The car was still a little too tight. Also, crew chief Mike Beam writing what they were going to do on the air pressures on a piece of paper. No radio chatter, so no one can pick up what they're doing. Ricky Craven looking for a second career win first here on the Magic Mile. Service complete.
Whole host of cars coming in. Jeff Gordon's in, Jeff Burton's in, and the race leader, Kurt Busch, coming down pit road. Matt?
A little bit of strategy possibly here with a 24. After some damage to the fender with some contact to the 17. Only right side tires because they know the rain is coming, Bill.
Kurt Busch is on pit road. They're aware of the weather situation as well. 4 tires for Busch. They're going to drop the left front air pressure 1 pound. A lot of brake dust on the front of these wheels. Unbelievable. Left side tires going on, fuel going in. Took a little longer on the left front. Burns.
Point leader Sterling Marlin is in. His car is still tight. They're not going to make any chassis adjustments. Slight air pressure adjustment to fix the tight condition for Sterling. 4 tires. Sterling is going down pit road now, 45 miles per hour. Jimmie Johnson getting ready to come in as well, guys.
Leader right now is Michael Waltrip. Jimmie Johnson is second. Bill Elliott, Robby Gordon, they've both not stopped. They'll go to 3rd and 4th. There's Mikey, and he's coming in right now. Stretched the fuel a little bit farther than some of those other guys. Didn't get the break with the weather or anything. Dave?
Jimmie Johnson in now. The car was amazingly good in clean air. A little bit loose when he was in traffic. They make a chassis adjustment to correct that. 4 tires for Johnson as well. They clean the windshield. Marty?
Dave, only once has Michael Waltrip finished in the top 10 at New Hampshire. That came in 1996. The car has been excellent all day long. They will make no changes on this stop. They did outlast everybody on the fuel, however.
Great pit stop for Michael Waltrip. Just to take over 14 seconds.
Bill Elliott now the leader. Then Robby Gordon will stop, and then the lead will cycle back around to those who were up front before. But it's going to be Ryan Newman out with the lead. Got off pit road faster than Kurt Busch.
But here comes Kurt.
Right now, this is for 3rd and 4th place until the 9 and the 31 stop. And now Bill Elliott comes in for his stop. That puts Robby Gordon in the lead, Newman into 2nd, Kurt Busch to 3rd.
Elliott stayed out as long as he could on fuel. Now he comes to pit road for service from his crew. This will be 4 tires and fuel, and they will make an air pressure adjustment. Remember, Elliott's car starts off a little free, then gets better the longer they go. Longer runs better for him. We'll see if he gets another long run. The 9's on his way. Dave.
Robby Gordon has not changed left side tires until now. You can believe they're going to change 4 tires this time. Remember, the car very, very loose. They only changed 2 tires last time, and the car got way... Oh, my goodness. Guess what? He's still on the same left side tires.
Wow.
And that didn't look like everybody quite knew what the plan was there.
I think we're going to do 2. Yep, he didn't see here Robby tell him that he didn't know they were taking 2. And he probably wanted 4.
Kurt Busch looks like right now he might have just a tick faster car than Ryan Newman, but can he get by him before it rains?
Well, he's got to pass him on the racetrack now. He had the lead before, but Ryan Newman's guys got the job done on pit road. Look at this, right up against the bumper.
It looks like Ryan BP is just trying to be careful a little bit on that lap traffic, but he can't be too careful with Kurt Busch right there.
And Johnny Benson not that far back. Just a little over 1 second behind these two.
Turn 2 was the last one. That's where Kurt Busch got the big run last time.
And we hear, listen to the engine on Ryan Newman's car. He's not able to go all the way to the floor with the accelerator until he almost gets all the way off the corner.
Well, we talked about Ryan Newman's pit crew, getting him the lead back from Kurt Busch. Here are the guys who got the job done.
Hi, I'm Michael Nelson. I clean the windshield, and I'm originally from Anderson, South Carolina.
Robert Midfield, front tire changer, Kannapolis, North Carolina. Hi, I'm Trent Cherry. I'm the rear tire carrier, and I'm from Compton, California.
Hi, I'm George Whitley, the gas man from Chocowinity, North Carolina.
Ray Ocean, front tire carrier, Salisbury, North Carolina.
Joe Piette, rear tire changer from Wausau, Wisconsin.
Jerry Moody, catch can, Hickory, North Carolina. Chad Norris, Jackman, Concord, North Carolina.
Right. Guys, good job.
If it were to rain shortly and Ryan Newman would have won this race, getting the lead back from Kurt Busch on pit road, we might know who our nominees would be for the Golden Betty next week.
Could be.
For now, we're past halfway. It hasn't rained yet. Everybody's made their pit stops, and we're just back to head-to-head competition. Kurt Busch
is passing, looking,
coming back for the lead on Newman. Driving in deep.
No, couldn't quite make it.
Man, that 12 car's got some horsepower, doesn't it?
Oh,
here he comes again.
Taking a look. But he's just not going to have enough getting up off the corner, outrun that 12 car down the straightaways.
Kurt Busch pitted 7 laps later than Ryan Newman. Tires better, significantly, enough of a help?
Well, it looked like Ryan's car all day has been a little bit tight on new tires, and then his car gets better as they go along.
Okay, remember that commercial we were starting to go to before? We got to go do it now. Newman and Busch with a terrific duel at the head of the pack in New Hampshire. The rain has held off so far. We are coming up on the 2/3 mark in the New Hampshire 300. And we have got an intense fight for the lead between Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch.
Are going at it.
Fantastic, as a matter of fact.
Lap traffic as they run up on cars. Kurt Busch comes right to the bumper of Newman. They jockey around, and somehow Newman continues to hold him off. Now the next one in front of these cars to go a lap down, the championship leader Sterling Marlin. Not a good day. Not a bad day like last week at Richmond, but not a great day.
But right now, Sterling Marlin in the 40 car is running about as fast as he has all day. As he knows these cars right behind him is bad news for him.
And good news for Mark Martin, the fact that everybody made a pit stop under the green flag, and that flat tire he had back at lap 145 didn't hurt him.
I thought Busch was going to try to go by on the outside, but he got him a great run to come off on the inside and on backstretch. No.
Now this is where it gets intense. If it starts to rain, now we'll see the bumper. How about it, Bill?
It's starting to sprinkle down here, Wally. It definitely is. And one problem with the 12, Kurt Busch asked how to adjust the brake bias. He's also having to pump the brakes because his car is loose in, but he's also having to pump the brakes to get him to work. That's never good.
No, that's not good. You can help fix. Here we go. Ooh, he's right there.
Looking. Needs more racetrack off of turn 2 to get that done.
If you turn the brake bias to the front and give it more front brake, that'll help the loose end. But
that's what he wanted. Sorry, Wally, that's what he wanted to do. Want to make sure he was turning it the right way.
Right. But if he's having to pump the brakes, boy, that's going to be tough.
Newman protecting the inside.
Newman's protecting everything.
He's trying to protect everything on Kurt Busch. A battle for the lead. The 12 and the 97. Here the 97 goes on the outside. That's not going to work, but he'll try to get him to run on the inside.
Radio traffic, some of NASCAR spotters around the racetrack being polled. Is it raining? What's falling?
Boy, that's good stuff right here.
That's terrific stuff. And Johnny Benson not that far behind these guys.
Closing in. Matt, something going wrong for Ricky Craven?
His chances for a victory may be going out the window. He came on the radio a lap and a half ago and said, I think I have a right front tire going down. I possibly have a flat tire. They're hoping to ride it out, hoping now that the showers come and he can hang on to that top 5, but it's not looking good.
A huge break for Ryan Newman there.
You look at these guys working this traffic, and
here we see Tony Stewart The 20 car trying to take over the third spot from Johnny Benson.
Takes the spot.
Benson tries the crossover. Now, the big break I was talking about before, when the lap traffic got in between the top two.
Yeah, that definitely is a big help.
So Stewart goes to third, Benson back to fourth. And here's Kurt Busch trying to get around that Jeremy Mayfield car and get back in touch with Ryan Newman.
He does that. Bill Elliott's 9 car will follow the 97 by. That's a battle for the 23rd position between the 9 and 19.
And again, the pole goes out from the control tower to the spotters around the racetrack. They're saying some occasional drops, but not rain. Certainly not enough to stop the race at this point. Bill?
And I would agree with that 100%, Alan. Just on the 97, Kurt Busch is not going to get any easier. He just radioed in. His car is getting tight off the exit all of a sudden. Not something he saw coming. So his car is tightening up on him a little bit. And remember, Newman's car does get better, as Wally pointed out, the longer they go, if that brake problem doesn't continue to mount.
I'll tell you what, Kurt is driving for everything he's got right now to try to get back to the 12 car Ryan Newman. He made up a lot of ground there in the last couple laps.
Ryan Newman once again now back up on the back bumper of Sterling Marlin in that silver number 40.
Oh, here comes Kurt again. Lap traffic's been the deal here today.
Yeah.
It's been the story.
And like you said, if Ryan can get a car in between him and Kurt, he usually pulls out.
Look at that. Did you see that left front brake rotor on that 12 car when he went down into turn 3? Cherry red it was glowing. He's working that car hard.
It's taken all that just to stay in front of the 97. But can he stay there? Oh, so close.
This kind of attempts to pass, you know, that the middle lane of the racetrack is the fastest. That's the old bottom groove that everybody fought so hard for. But the changes that track owner Bob Baer made to this speedway before the Busch Series race here in May, this is what he intended, for somebody to have an opportunity to try and find a passing lane down low.
Well, you know, we talked about at the beginning of the race, BP. I think the track is better, obviously, than it was. I think the temperature helped.
Oh, he hit him. Kurt Busch into the corner of Ryan Newman. And Newman gathers it up and holds the lead.
But there's a lot more racetrack that they are using today.
And Kurt Busch that last time tried an entirely different line. He went in turn 1 very, very wide, trying to get that run off the bottom. Let's see if he does it again.
What's coming from behind? I see the 9 car. What else is back there? 20 to the 10.
That's Kurt Busch's radio. And just to button up the discussion on the track and the changes made to it, unlike the July race, when by this point in the event the surface in turn 4 was questionable and people were crashing everywhere, we're really not seeing that today. We have seen a couple flat tires.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that was with contact with other guys.
Right.
You know, cutting the tires down when they're running side by side, bumping into each other in the corners.
And I tell you, these guys, Kurt, you got to go, because right behind you is Tony Stewart, that 20 car.
And Benson. And Bobby Labonte. And when will it rain? Will it rain? Or are we going to run this thing to all 300 laps?
All right, here comes Kurt once again. But when the 12 car gets that car aimed and hits the throttle, he seems like he's able to pull away from 97 a little bit.
Yeah, it's really hard to be on the inside of a guy and be able to pull up and make the pass going down the back straightaway, because you need that car to drift all the way up to the wall to keep your momentum.
Kurt Busch continuing to work Ryan Newman over for the race lead. Coming up on 200 laps. Where's the weather? Which one of these guys is going to come out on top? Back in New Hampshire, they're racing to the caution flag for rain. Kurt Busch trying to put a move on Ryan Newman. This could be the run to the finish. Newman gets to the caution first. Lap 199. It has started to drip once again here in New Hampshire. The caution came out after the leaders had gone by the start-finish line. Busch made a desperate attempt to get off turn 2 and then off turn 4 to steal the lead away, but he was unsuccessful, and Newman leads behind the pace car.
And now Ryan Newman Matt Marlin, this entire crew, they want it to rain because if it
really hard the past 20, 30 laps to just start. Oh, we're staying out, right?
Oh yeah, you're staying out. All right.
Yeah, don't even think about it.
Stay out. Do not pit. Stay out.
See the eyebrows go up.
Yeah.
There, like, oh.
I'll tell you what, that was good, hard, clean racing right there the last 25, 30 laps.
And Kurt Busch had every chance.
He could have knocked him out of the way 100 times.
He did not do that.
Yeah,
So
good racing.
Haven't called a thing, but
if the racetrack gets wet,
right,
it's over.
Right.
And right now, Kurt Busch just hopes that it doesn't rain anymore, that they're able to keep the racetrack dry.
Yeah, if they lose the track, you're looking at what, an hour, hour and a half to drive. We don't have that much daylight.
Yeah, no, if they lose the track, it's done. You know, based on what we saw with Ryan and Marty during his fishing trip, I don't know if Ryan's a dancer much, but if he knew how to do a rain dance,
he'd be doing it.
It's happening inside that car right now.
Well, I'm sure he's a much better dancer than Marty is a fisherman.
I wonder if our guys have umbrellas. Hey guys, is it raining or how hard is it raining? Weber?
It's raining pretty good, Benny. They still got the track, but they don't have much longer. Ryan Newman just said on the radio, he said, I definitely do not have the best car right now. So,
yeah, but he's got the
best position.
He's got the right position for the weather.
And going back to the this is a team sport theme, how did he get the lead for what would be the winning pass if this thing is stopped shortly?
Pit crew.
Pit crew got the job done on their stop.
And I just want to add something to that crew. John Erickson is the spotter for Ryan Newman, and it's tough to keep remembering that Ryan's a rookie because he's so talented. But his spotter, John Erickson, did an outstanding job at the beginning of the race, keeping his driver under control, and throughout the race, getting him through traffic. So outstanding job by John Erickson, who's been around the sport a long time with a rookie driver.
Yeah, this looks like it's...
Well, pending the outcome of the rain situation here, if the race is over now, I give the nod to that pit crew for our Autotrader.com move of the race.
I got to agree with you on that one. That was the winning move.
Yep.
Pretty wet now.
You see the guy clamp when he said the track was pretty wet now?
They're losing 3 and 4, so it won't be long.
That sounded like, was that John Erickson, the spotter?
Yes, what sounded like.
Talking. Monitoring some traffic with the NASCAR control tower just to see what's going on there, and they've got some of the jet blowers out.
The rain, ain't it?
That's a real good time to rain, Ryan.
Ryan Newman's first stock car race was in June of 2000. First ever stock car race. Just a couple of years ago.
Now look at the championships point standings.
Earl and Marlin now would be 6 points behind.
Look at that top 5.
Jeff Gordon just 67 back in 5th. Let's go to 6. See what that is.
And
I don't have that.
And how about the fact that Marlin has led the championship since the second race of the season, Rockingham, North Carolina, the end of February. And if the race doesn't go any farther today, he'll give it up for the first time since then. Oh, it's going to be good.
So I told you, Rusty is 6th. He's 146 back. So, yes, it's going to be very, very good. And we can see this racetrack is starting to get wetter and wetter.
And you see the spray coming off the rear tires of the Cup cars.
Fans think they've seen the finish, some of them heading for the exits. We intercepted this from Kurt Busch to his pit crew just a minute ago.
Just couldn't get him.
Try, man. Good try.
Hey, Bud, that was a clinic. You know, I can see where you're getting beat there, and we're working on it, but that was wonderful.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Jack. That's all I could do, boys.
That was Jack Roush.
That 12 was handling on the straightaways, wasn't it?
Was this race 1 year ago that Robby Gordon picked up his first NASCAR Winston Cup win? Marty may see another first-time winner here shortly.
Might be. Matt Marlin, how good of a dancer are you? Do we get to see a rain dance out of you now?
I don't think you'll see a rain dance, but hopefully it'll keep raining here and end this thing. But we'll see. It could dry back up, and we might finish the whole 300 laps. But the guys on the crew did a great job today. Ryan did an awesome job in the car. Just hopefully we can bring home this Mobile 1 Alto Ford in first place.
And I know you're proud of that driver right now, win, lose, or draw.
Oh, yeah. He had his hands full there. We didn't give him the best car today, but he was definitely the best driver today, and so were these guys on the pit crew. They did a great job.
All right, hopefully we'll talk in a minute, okay?
Okay.
It keeps coming down raining here. You might be able to break out the fishing pole with him shortly, Marty.
BP already has his life vest on.
Yeah, I saw the rain and put my life vest on. I'm only kidding, folks. I didn't do it.
No, he's not. Ryan Newman led 139 laps. Okay, he is. Johnny Benson led 53 today. Turning point of the race for him, lap 140, when he was trying to lap Mike Wallace and slid up the racetrack, bounced off Mike, and Ryan Newman got past him, along with Kurt Busch. Eventually, he lost third spot to Tony Stewart. Who else led today? Kurt Busch led 7 laps. Then Michael Waltrip, Robby Gordon, and Bill Elliott all took turns leading laps during that one round of green flag pit stops that we had. Conversation between NASCAR race director David Hoots and Buster Otten, who's driving the pace car, about the condition of the track. And I've got a feeling we're closing in on a resolution of this thing here today, momentarily.
No question about that. The track is pretty wet.
Buster said, we've lost the track. That means they would have to stop the cars, put out the red flag, put all the drying equipment out, and there's just not enough daylight left.
You see just how shiny that racetrack is up above the pace car on the top of that racetrack. That means that they have lost the track. There we see David Hoots here, John Darby there, Kevin Triplett back here, the brain trust of NASCAR. The
top right corner, Bob Bear, track owner.
It's pretty wet. Just a little bit of lightness right in the middle, but that's it. It's still really wet all around, and our windshield's soaking wet. Now, we're going to have to do something before we go back. If we were to go back to green, to stop and clean the windshields for us.
You ain't going back green. You have to worry about that, Ryan.
Lower, they're losing it. 10-4.
Yeah, I don't know how superstitious Ryan Newman is, but if he feels like he has to go fishing with Marty every Saturday in order to win.
Boy, that's a lot of pain, but if you have to.
I'm telling you. All right, here's the decision from race control.
Next time by, white flag.
You got it. When they come to the start-finish line, they get the white flag. And this race is going to stop at lap 207.
You, why don't you talk around the last lap? I can't talk, man. All right, 10-4.
Is that Don Miller you're talking to?
Talk, old man, this one's for you. You worked your ass off for this. Thanks, Betty.
Don Miller, longtime associate of Roger Penske, who's...
You will be the rain man.
Marty?
The man you're looking at is Greg Newman. He took Ryan Newman to the racetrack when he was 4 years old, put him in a midget car, said, son, someday we're going to go big-time racing. They are here. This is his first ever Winston Cup win. It is an emotional day for the Newman family, who is very tight-knit even to this day. His dad drives his motorhome to the racetrack each week, and he is here every week for his son, and you can see the tears of happiness coming down his face right now.
It's great to see.
That is fantastic.
Ryan Newman is 24 years old. He's from South Bend, Indiana. Came from a background of open wheel racing in the Midwest. He's an engineering graduate of Purdue University. Roger Penske took him in, said this kid is going to be a star in this sport. Put him through the ABC program where they ran some ARCA, some Busch, and some Cup races.
Buddy Baker tutored this young man for a couple of years, helping him learn more about these stock cars and what it takes to win.
And Don Miller, the longtime general manager of the Penske South team.
Congratulations.
Who has also
good job, everybody.
Been very instrumental in Ryan Newman's development. And now it all comes to the payoff window. As Ryan Newman comes off of turn 4 to the checkered flag under the caution in the rain to pick up his first NASCAR Winston Cup Series win. In just his 35th start, Ryan Newman goes to victory lane. The 16th Jiffy driver to win this season. those are the guys who made the winning pass. They made the winning pass, and the driver worked himself right to the bone to keep that 97 car behind him.
And he used that mirror up there the last 15 or 20 laps.
Our Ford no boundaries moment. That 12 car heading to the winner's circle in the wet, but with the big trophy and the big check.
And all the drivers riding by congratulating him. A Rebestos Rookie Challenger winning here in New Hampshire. As Jimmie Johnson, the other challenger, has also a couple of victories. Snyder, you must be with a very happy fellow right now.
I'm with a very happy dad, and you took your son to the racetrack at 4 years old, and you said we can go big time racing someday. Is this the culmination of that dream, Greg?
You bet it is. It's awesome.
For you guys, the family, you're still a tight-knit family. I know it's an emotional day too.
I wish his mama was here.
Yeah. All right, well, go celebrate with your son. You deserve it. All right, Greg Newman, Ryan's dad, as the burnout begins.
Ryan's pretty good at these. Oh, one-handed even. Extra style points there. Fifth race this season to end under the caution flag. This one because of rain. But I would be very honest with you, the fact that we got more than 2/3 of this thing done today with the way the radars looked and the forecasts, I'm very surprised. And I don't think any of the fans leaving here today are disappointed.
They got their money's worth. Those last, like I said, 25, 30 laps was the best racing you're going to see.
About as good as it gets.
John Erickson. John, you can go to the winner's circle. Maybe he's got to try and help him find his way there.
John's a good man. Worked with him over at Sabco.
John, former head of motorsports for Pontiac. Also worked for the National Hot Rod Association for a little bit.
When you come in, you're going to turn in that first opening, go straight through. Garage 7 will be on the left, right at the end of that first garage, at the far end.
Taking the car into the garage area in the dry. The winner's circle.
Temporary digs there under the roof. While we wait for Ryan to get to the temporary winner's circle, let's hear from the man who fought him for the victory but came up a spot short.
And walking along with Kurt Busch, second place, you said you tried everything you could. Where was he beating you?
He was beating us, just beating us. I mean, we had the fastest car, but he was able to maneuver better than us. And I just reminisced to my dad and I just sitting on the couch, you know, armchair coaching and driving and trying to get the guy by the guy. And I tried everything in the book to get by him. And I had to race every lap like it was the last lap. That was the most fun I've ever had in a while. And I just couldn't put it all together coming off the corner. He was beating us there. And that was a great race. I'm real happy to finish second. Just tough for Rubbermaid not to get into victory lane today.
Nice effort. We'll see you at Dover.
You got it.
Matt.
Marty, since the start of the 1991 season, 376 races have been complete. Coming into today, Mark, you've been the point leader at the end of only 2. Congratulations, unofficially. You're in the points lead by 6.
Thank you, man. A disappointing race for us. We had a really fast race car. I'm so proud of this race team. They built this just fantastic car. It was a great car at Richmond, and we got a top 10 out of it. We had a top 10 or top 5. The car was really a top 5 car, and we had a flat. Should have ruined it. I almost walled it and got lucky and saved it. So, you know, we need to be thankful for the things that we did do, and that was, you know, avoid wrecking, bringing home 16th. This is one of those days we had a lot better car than where we finished.
Bill, to quote those famous English poets, the new boss looks a lot like the old boss.
And now back in Victory Garage, Ryan Newman climbs from his Winston Cup ride for the first time. And tomorrow, sports pages all around the country will say, "Hello, Newman, and welcome to Victory Lane." Well, today you went fishing for your first Winston Cup win, and you caught the big one. Congratulations.
That was awesome. Choking up some Gatorade here. Great effort all day for the guys, you know, to get me out first.
Here's Tony.
You know, they did a great job to get me in position, and we didn't have the fastest car by far at the end, and I got to thank Kurt Busch. He raced me extremely clean on a track that was really tough to pass on, and just had a blast. Thank you. You know, it's awesome, and I don't probably show the emotion that I should, but You know, just to have my dad here, Don Miller, everybody, say hi to Roger Penske. Thanks for giving me the opportunity, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's awesome for us.
Your dad got here first, very emotional. The next guy to your car was Rusty Wallace.
Yeah, Rusty just said awesome job. He says, you know, and it's just something we've both been looking forward to, I think, you know, to be for Penske Racing, and you know, it's the first one for me, and it's just ecstatic. Don Miller always called me the Rain Man, and I guess now he's got a good reason for it.
Did you think Kurt was going to be able to get by you? How did you hold him off?
He was close. I mean, and I was just, we worked traffic, you know, so close that, you know, I was having to go down low, and it looked like I was blocking him, but I wasn't. I was just trying to get a good jump on a guy in front of me. And like I said, he raced me extremely clean, and my thanks to him. And just say, listen to these guys, man. They're more excited than I am.
I think you're pretty excited. Dream come true, first Winston Cup win. It's
definitely a dream come true. Never thought I would have came here at Loudon on a flat track, but we're happy it did, and look forward to next weekend.
Okay, you're going to go fishing with Marty every Saturday now?
We can find a little pond out here. We just need to put some fish in it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ryan Newman has joined the very elite roster of race winners in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series.